Hey, welcome to another video with Blocks Builder, and in today's video we're going to build a menu structure using the Offcanvas Helper brick. And today's video we're going to replicate the menu structure from the Affinity website, which is this website right here. And if I click on the menu icon here, we see a drop down appear, and we've got some icons, a couple of rows, and our links and headers. And so we're going to replicate this effect. Now in this video I'm not going to cover the animations, but I will do another video that shows you how to create these animations. Now there's a few ways we can build this, but if we look and inspect their page here, we can see that actually all of these things here are unordered lists, and we're going to use that same layout when we build it in Offcanvas Helper. Purely because it's actually going to be easier to implement our animation later. Okay, let's get started. I have here in my Offcanvas project, a very basic project. I have a heading up a title bar up the top here in my global area, which just has an icon and some text and a menu button. That's just a basic menu button. I've got some placeholder information here, images here. They're just doing nothing but adding length to our page. And down at the bottom here, I have a blank block where we're going to put our Offcanvas Helper brick. Now offset the padding for this brick to be 0 on all breakpoints, so it doesn't interfere with our design. And so if I am going to, in just a moment, Offcanvas Helper, we're going to add our Offcanvas Helper brick. And with that selected, we'll see all our options on the right hand bar. But that's not much good without our Offcanvas blocks. And so I'm going to add our Offcanvas block above our title bar, our top menu bar here. And there's actually a couple of different starter blocks that you can get. There's the Offcanvas Basic with social footer, and we're going to use the bare bones block for this project. So a couple of things we're going to do before we get started is we're going to actually increase the column width. Not that the column width has any effect on the width of the menu itself when it's being used in preview, but purely just for design purposes. So we are going to get the column here, and it'll be good if I actually selected the right item here. Here we go. That'll be good. That'll make sense. And we're going to change that to width of 12 and no offset, just to make things a little bit easier. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to move this to full screen to give us some more space. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is you'll see on our Offcanvas menu here, we have a couple of divs. One's called Offcanvas header and one's our body. I'm going to remove the contents of the header because we don't need that. We don't need our title and we don't need our close icon. And I'm going to now place a couple of columns inside our Offcanvas content div. I'm not sure why that happens with my keyboard. It's pretty weird. Okay, we're going to put 2 columns in here. And if we go and have a quick look at our menu, we can see that they are not 50-50 and maybe 60-40, something like that. So we're going to change roughly the size of our columns here to 7 and 5 makes 12. There we go. Now this isn't going to be pixel perfect, but it's going to be a fair representation of what they have on their site. Next thing we want to do is actually change the background color of our menu here. And so we can do that selecting our main div, our Offcanvas menu class. And I'm going to set the background here to black, probably with an opacity of say 80%. Should be enough, because if we go and look at this main one here, we can actually see our content come through it. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we have our basic structure there. We're going to set up our toggle for the menu, and so I'm going to use the menu button here. Now you can use any element with this class and it will toggle the Offcanvas menu. And I'm going to just give this a class here called Offcanvas toggle. Okay, that's all we need. Offcanvas Helper will do the rest, and we'll turn that into a button for our Offcanvas menu. And we also want to set our settings for Offcanvas Helper. We want our position to be from the top. If we look at the speed, they have actually quite a speedy sort of menu here. So we're going to change our speed to probably, I don't know, I think we want to be 2, 3, 4. I don't think we want to go faster than 400, but we'll have a look, see what happens. We want to offset from our nav bar because we want our menu to be below it. So a couple of things we want to do there is we want to click our sticky nav offset, but we also want to put an ID for our toolbars, our menu bar. So with our menu bar selected, you can see I already have an ID here called top bar. So I'm going to use that ID right here. Okay, so we don't want to hide the menu button. We want our full size, our full screen canvas coming down from the top. We don't want to allow page scrolling. Color of the backdrop doesn't matter so much. Navigation links, well, that turned off. Smart collapse, there's no reason to have that on. And our form reset, we can leave that off as well. Okay, let's have a quick look at what we have. Cool. So we see our menu dropping down, but we can see this funny effect where it's actually going over our menu bar first and then coming down. So what we're going to do is actually just increase the Z index of our menu bar. And we've got this feature here, luckily, to amend this. And I'm just going to put a 1 on the end of that. And we should still be able to, that's brilliant. Awesome. Okay. We can start populating our content. We've done all the settings with the Offcanvas Helper that we need to apply. As simple as that. Okay, so let's have a quick look at our reference again. We have our heading, we have a divider, and then our list of items, a heading, a divider, a list of items, and we have 3 lots on the right column. Okay, so I'm just going to put a heading here, and then I'm going to put a divider. And then I'm going to put a list. I think what happens with that beeping is I think when I move or start typing too quick on my keyboard, it doesn't catch up. Okay. Right, I'm probably just going to speed this up on the video so you just don't see me continually adding these things in because it's pretty, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, right, so we have our headings and 1, 2, 3 and our list items 1, 2, 3. Okay, and it's probably a little bit hard to see the content right now, but we will solve that in just a moment. We're going to add some CSS styling, and what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do it differently to how you may do it. You could go through and style each item. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some targeting CSS and keep everything nice and tidy. This is the way I do it. You don't have to do it this way. You could create separate classes. So what I do know is that the area we're working in is called the Offcanvas content. And part of why I also create my CSS like this as well, it doesn't interfere with anything else on the page or the site. I know that it's everything within our Offcanvas content area. So I'm going to create some classes. My first one is going to be called Offcanvas content. Oh, I did have that spelled right. And then we're going to put our H3, which is our heading tags that we've got there. Leave that in place, and then we're going to create one for our divider, Offcanvas content, and we need a decimal before that, and it's called divider-h, if I remember right. It's the class we want for our divider. And then these are all list items, unordered lists. So we can easily target that using Offcanvas. UL for unordered list. We don't need a dot on that one because it's a tag. And then we want Offcanvas. Actually, I did a mistake on that one. Should be Offcanvas content. ULLI. I mean, it's still going to target that, but I kind of like to keep this all nice and tidy. The reason why I do it is that now we have a bunch of those. When you end up with a lot of classes, it's easy now. If I spell this right, Offcanvas content, I can do a filter search and then I've got all the classes I need for this area here. So that's why, or another reason why I do it. I find it handy. Okay, so we're going to change our header text to white. We're going to change our font. We're just going to choose something basic like Roboto. We'll do Roboto Bold. 0.4, all caps. Go the right way. And a couple other things that we could do is that we could make that a little bit bigger. We could change our line spacing. I'm going to set that to EM. So EM makes it relative to the size. So I'm going to do 0.0525. 0.05. Cool. Space it out a bit. And we're going to change the text content here. Okay, next we're going to change our dividers. And we're going to change the color using our option here in the sidebar. Probably nice if we make them all the same color. Where's our option gone? What have we done? These have changed around since Ventura. Okay, let's have a quick look at that. Nice. Okay, so in our left-hand column here, we are going to put in our images. And so I'm just going to put an image brick in here. And give this one a class because we actually want a fixed height but varying lengths because each one of these images is going to be a different length. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that 3 times. And we're just going to change the image. Because as you can see, they are different lengths. So we want them to be all the same height. So what I'm going to do, and I probably should have done this before I duplicated. So let's go back. Let's call this menu app image. And I'm going to do a fixed height on these of 60 pixels. And we want this to be aligned to the left. Now I can duplicate my list item. Now make sure you don't duplicate the image, but you're duplicating the list item. And we want 3 of those. And now we have equal heights. Awesome. Okay. Now on our other side here, we just want to add some links. Actually, we can duplicate this 3 times. Remove our empty ones. Of course, there's lots of ways you can do this. Quicker ways, slower ways. Duplicate the list item, not the link. and there is 4 items under company. Delete our ones we don't need, and I just did what not to do, which is I duplicated the list item, not the link, not the list item. Okay, let's go back and duplicate the list item. 4. Brilliant. Okay, so we can easily target now our text for our links here. Again, we're going to use our off-canvas content. And we're going to specifically target within, and I'm doing this for demonstration purposes, how you can target things. You don't have to do it this way. Again, you could just make a class and apply it to them. So we're going to use off-canvas content, unordered list, li, and then a tag. So we've got a kind of an easy one. Off-canvas content, unordered list item, and then our link. Add that. We want to keep our spaces intact, and right now we can control all our links here, so we're going to make them white. We're going to get rid of our underline. We are going to use our Roboto font again. Going to increase the size of our text. Our spacing we're actually going to apply to our list item, not the content of our list item. So we're not going to worry about that right now. Okay. Now actually what we want to do is so we want a duller color, and then it highlights white. So an easy way to do that is you could use 2 different colors. So on our hover, we set white as well. So on our normal state, we could change the type of gray it is, or we could actually use white and just drop the opacity. And I'm probably going to do that. Oh, that was just blocks being blocks. Nice. Actually, one of the things that I also should have done while I was duplicating that, now I've gone and duplicated them all, as you can tell, when the cursor is away from the link, it still highlights because the link actually goes the full length. And we're going to fix that in just a moment. So if I went through now, and we can use the width setting here for our links, and changed each one of them, and you watch that blue border now shrinks down to the size of the link. Cool. Nice. Okay, I'll speed this process up again. I'm just going to name these. Awesome. Okay, so the next thing we have is we have these other options down here. So we have a grey box with an icon on it, and then we have text that is linkable that has some larger text and some smaller text. So there's a few ways we can build that. I'm going to show you one of those ways. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 items below our apps. So I'm going to remove this last list item because we don't need it, because we're going to duplicate this one. And inside this, I am going to put a div. And then I'm going to put a paragraph. Come on. It's being mean to me. Okay, and actually, I'm going to restructure those. Now inside this div, we are going to place the icon, and we are going to select bag. We want to set the size of this icon using the affinity symbol here, which means it's going to inherit the size from its parent item. and we can set the color here, and we're just going to make that white. And it looks tiny at the moment because it's you know, it's getting that size from these things here, but we're going to fix that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually add some styling to this div that's wrapped around the icon. So we're going to call this menu icon wrapper. You can call this whatever you like. And I'm going to make that the same height as our other icons up here, which is 60, but we also want it to be square, so I'm going to do a width of 60 and a height of 60. And we're going to change our background color to an sort of a gray color. And this is where we can set the size of our icon here. It's going to inherit from here, so we will call it, we'll do 2 rems maybe. And I'm actually going to turn this into a flex box so that it will center our icon in the middle. I can do that with our position tab, display, flex, and our flex tab. I'm going to go center, align, and then our center justify to put it in the middle. There we go. Right. And here we have our text. So what we can add is we can add another class here to for our paragraph text here. Offcanvas content ULLIP for a paragraph. And I might be rushing a little bit here because I don't want to make this video too long, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. And we want this to be Roboto as well. And just plain Roboto 1.4. We'll do 1.2 as the main text. And we'll put the text in for the first one. So it's purchase options. And we'll probably copy and paste. We'll do a layer point. So this top item here, we're going to wrap in a span. We're going to give it a class that I'm just going to call text larger. And we can set the height of this text or the size of this text using EM. So EM makes it relative to the size of the paragraph. So if we had 1 EM, it remains the same size. Bring this over here. If we change it to 2 REM, it's now twice the size of the paragraph text. So we want 1.3, 1.4 maybe. We'll have a look to see if that's too big. So now we have a problem where we have these stacked where they should be next to each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our list items into flex boxes. So if we come back to our class here, which is always handy to have made all these classes, we want our Offcanvas content ULLI, Offcanvas content unordered list item. And we're going to turn this into a flex box. And you can see it changing already. But just set these options. We want to align center, justify to the left. Okay. And probably what we want to do also with this box, this container here, this wrapper around our icon, is we're going to add some margin on the right hand side only. Again, I'm using 1 rem, so we might make that 0.5. Okay, not quite right. These aren't quite square. Okay, we can do some fine tuning. Again, this isn't going to be pixel perfect. We will find though that this isn't going to lay right because of the padding, the default padding that you have or margin that you have with our paragraphs. So we're going to tweak our paragraph, which is Offcanvas content unordered list item paragraph. I'm going to set the margin to 0. There we go. And I think possibly, yeah. All right, that's close enough. And we can actually change our text. Again, it's off-white, but highlights white on hover. And it changes down to, was it 80% I did for the other one? Something like that. Okay, let's go and have a look at this. Go away, drop down box. Go away. Okay, so there we have our basic structure, which is starting to look like this. And it hasn't taken us too long at all. Now we need to spread these out a little bit more, so we can apply some spacing on our list items. So we want our off-canvas content, unordered list item. So hopefully you're following this. It does make it much easier to style things in bulk and change the layout like what we're doing right now. Okay, so we want to go to our margins and paddings. And we probably want to set our lower bottom padding for all our list items. And we're going to set that as an a rem. And we'll set that at 2. Because there is quite a bit of spacing there. 1.5 maybe. Okay. And actually what we need to do is we need to duplicate this list item another 3 times. 4 items. Brilliant. So we're not going to go through and change all the icons and the text here, but you get the idea now of how we can create this menu. We'll notice that there is a bigger gap here from our icons to the secondary list, so we can do that pretty easily. We'll just grab this list item, make sure that the list item is selected, and we're going to put a bit of a manual padding margin on the top, and we can use the class empty for margin top, hyphen, and we'll do 5. Great. Awesome. So here we have the basic layout of our, and we'll show it to you in a browser. Our basic layout. We could fine tune it a little bit more, but we've got what we've got. In another video, I'm going to show you how to do the animations of when you come in like that. One thing, what else will we do before we end this video? Because I'm trying to not make it too long. Is that we will do the breakpoints. So we want it to be able to collapse down as the window goes down to a single column. And so that's pretty easy to do in blocks because we've done it in columns here in our menu. We're just going to make use of our 2 columns that we have. And so in this one, in our large breakpoint, we've got a 7/5 split, and our medium one, medium size, remember this is only a visual column, this bigger one. We want probably 7, we could do a 7/5 on our medium. And then probably from our smaller ones, we want that to be full size. You don't have to assign them a width of 12. I tend to do that. Awesome. And so now in our browser, for every size, awesome. How cool is that? That didn't take us too long. That's pretty easy to do. And so it's not pixel perfect, but it's the basic structure. We could play around more and get it more accurate. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed that and learned a few things. Let me know in the comments and other things you'd like to be able to see you can do with Offcanvas Helper. Awesome. Have a great day.